Sure.
Me to do the intro.
I'll do the intro. And how close do you want to hold it? About like this?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome back. So we've been starting these little talks where we let our community ask us questions about things that we've been talking about throughout, just how around training, around the ways that we talk, the methodology that we use with eating, and we just let people ask us questions, and that's how we learn and we kind of get into conversations. So last week the main topic was about habits and kind of the importance of creating good habits and then how to keep those habits on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. So from there, I think you kind of started the whole thing off, so maybe I'll hand off to you.
Yeah. So I think we started out by saying, in our minds we make habits and routines really complicated because we think about all these different things that we want to do and need to do, and I think a lot of us kind of get overwhelmed with it. And what we've always discussed is, we want to focus definitely on the big three, the things that are going to give you the biggest bang for buck, and that's going to be nutrition, fitness, and sleep. And if you're lacking in one of those areas, or there's one of those areas that you want to work on, what we'd recommend is just picking one of those and making that your focus and just getting that kind of dialed in and then moving on to something else. Because I think our goal, and just pull it away from me if I start talking too much.
Yeah,
okay?
No, I will.
I think our goal, because where we're at with most of this is a lot of what we want to do to be healthy is kind of like a part of our daily habit and routine and rituals, right? So I think our goal is to eventually make these health habits almost unconscious to some degree, and it means you have to focus on something for a little bit. Sometimes that may mean that you have to force yourself to do it for a little bit until it gets to feel relatively comfortable or part of your life. Like we kind of use the example a lot. If I want to work on double unders and I don't have double unders yet, and I work on them really hard a little bit every day before or after class or something like that, within a certain amount of time I'm going to get double unders. And then once I have double unders, I kind of have them as long as I work on them just a little bit here and there. And same thing with some of these habits. We want to work on them until they get to the point to where they feel really comfortable, and then we can move on to something else versus trying to focus on everything at once and having this perfectionist mindset, and then if one of it falls apart, then everything falls apart, and you throw your hands up and you walk away, and that's kind of not what we want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And along those lines, on building on what Paul just said, was every little battle we win is going to help us with the next battle. So if we are trying to change these habits and make a real change, sometimes little battles that we win can start to add up, and that can become so great that it becomes not even about the habit. It's we've won the battle so many times, we've won the fight so many times that we're not going to let that donut affect our chain, our habit loop that we've created. It's become too big. Right. And I feel like that's where we all kind of want to get to. It's a principle now of why I'm not doing it, not just because I have this side goal in mind of whether that be losing weight or maybe lifting more. That's why my habit would be get to the gym every day. It's now become, I've had these major battles where I could have eaten something I shouldn't have, but I did say no. So it makes it easier the next time to say no.
No.
Versus the other thing, if you do let it slide, becomes way easier just to let the next thing slide. That might be a couple hours from now. Mm-hmm. And you just okay, and then pretty soon it's just we're completely off track.
Yep. And so what we're talking about here is momentum, getting some momentum under your belt, like getting a bunch of these little wins under your belt so that it becomes easier and easier and easier to say no or to do the right thing or whatever that is. And what we're looking for too is the feeling that we get from doing the right thing. So when I'm spot on with nutrition day after day after day, I start to accumulate this good feeling and this better performance and energy levels and mental clarity. And at some point it's like, I don't want to give this up.
That's what it becomes about.
Yeah. And then it's same thing with the training, like maybe it's easy to skip a day or two when you feel like you need to go or something like that. But if you get some momentum on your belt and you've done it for so long, and you experience the community and you're enjoying it and seeing results and all that stuff, you don't want to lose that. And so that's what we're talking about by building momentum, right?
Absolutely. It becomes something that you miss. Yep. That you want to do daily.
Absolutely. And that's all of what we're talking about, like fitness and nutrition stuff, for sure, yeah. And sleep, maybe, Well, hopefully you're not skipping nights of sleep, but...
Yeah, sleep would be a big one. Do you want to get into the questions that were asked now?
Yeah, so I got a question for you.
Okay.
All right, I got a question for Colby. Now, someone asked the question, and you remember the things we talked about around this, right? Okay, so someone asked the question, why don't we do more abs?
Yes.
Why don't we do more dedicated ab work?
Dedicated ab work. So this was a good one. I think we do get this one asked a lot. And my response initially was, well, everything we do involves abs because we do big movements in CrossFit. We do functional movements. We squat. We lift up things, we pull ourselves up. All of this involves abs, right? But after the meeting, I started thinking about it. I think what I wanted to really say was, if we're gonna be here for our hour, and if you're here for health, we wanna do what's gonna give us the most bang for our buck. Crunches and some flutter kicks, those are isolated abs, and I think they're great. So if you do wanna spend a little extra time on that, I have no problem with it. But they should never take the place of major big movements, squats, deadlifts, just basically picking some up off the ground. Yeah, the main things that we know gets results, meaning a six-pack, like those are the things we want to focus our time on. If you want to put in a little extra time doing some isolated ab work, I think it's fine, but I just think there's better things that we can be doing our time with. But if you have more time to spend in the gym and you enjoy that type of stuff, go for it.
Yeah. And then, if I could add to that,
yeah.
So I think there was a hidden question behind that question, which is, how do I get abs?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we doing more ab work? Because I want to get abs. And here's the thing, everybody's got abs already right now. You just have to lose the body fat over it, and especially if we're in here doing all the work that we're doing here, like we've all got some abs, we just, we need to lose the body fat over it, and that mainly comes from the nutrition and the real food aspect of it, because, we've got the musculature, we just need to uncover the musculature, and that's, that's the challenge for a lot of us, and I think, there's some people are going to be predisposed to look a certain way and different and better than others when you get into that realm, but I think everybody can move in the direction of losing more body fat, and that's really going to come from just being spot on with the nutrition piece,
Yeah, and just the last little thing on that, if we're looking for abs, knowing what we know, the body doesn't lose fat in just one part. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you want to do the movements that are going to make you lose the most and burn the most fat. So we're still going to be going after the main movers. We're still going to be going after big movements that involve your legs, that involve more of your entire body, not just isolating your abs. If you have all this excess body fat to lose anyway, you want to do the guys that burn the most.
Yeah, so like doing crunches is not going to burn fat in my stomach, just like doing bicep curls does not burn fat in my biceps, Yeah.
So lose it as an entirety. Your body is a system.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so you already answered the next question, which was basically, what about isolation movements for abs versus, like complex movements, and you kind of answered that. So I think the next question, was there any other question we had for you?
Not for me. There was one kind of from Kat. What if you get off track? Like,
oh yeah,
what happened? We all reach the point, or we get in a situation where it just happens. Life happens. We give in. We have the dessert. We have a night of just drinking. We're hungover the next day, and then what do we do from there? It's really just life. I mean, we got to try to get back on track as soon as we can. Realize that maybe, and don't even say it was a bad thing. I enjoyed my time. You have fun, because we're all about enjoying our lives. But if you do, get back on track as soon as you can. Start over, and all it really takes is 2 or 3 days. If we're able to grind through and get that back, you're right back on the train.
Versus what though? What usually happens with people, or not usually, but sometimes what will happen if they fall off?
Yeah, or what could happen, what does happen, is they fall off. The next day, it's pointless. 3-4 days, a week goes by. Next thing, it's like, just forget about everything that I've worked so hard for is pointless, right? I think another thing I just thought of, when people come back, they're like, oh, I've lost everything. You know what I mean? That's something that we hear a lot. And that's impossible. Like, you remember everything. You remember because we've built you from, we've taught you how to squat. There's still a lot of things we just had a little break. Get back into it. It comes back way quicker than you think.
Yeah. And then the musculature, the performance, all that stuff bounces back really quick. It's like your body has a really good memory for all that stuff. Yep. So I think something, the reason I asked you this, or versus what, like a lot of people, they miss a day or two, whether it's food, whether it's, working out. And some people have this perfectionist mindset. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to start over again next week so I can have a perfect week, or I'm going to start over again next month so I can have a perfect month or something. And what we're saying is, get back on it. You're only one meal away from being back on the food. You're only one workout away from being back in the workout scene, and you're going to thank yourself the sooner you get back into it, because then the sooner you start to build momentum. And then the opposite is true, because the more meals that you miss and the more workouts that you miss, you're getting momentum in the opposite direction. And we want to get back on that as soon as we can. Don't let perfection be the enemy of just doing the right thing. And also, we talked about this, I thought was really good, like don't overcompensate. Like don't come back in and be like, now I'm doing everything. Now I'm like, I'm back on.
I missed 5 workouts. Now I'm going to do 5 workouts.
Because in a day or 3 days or something like that. It's just get back on where you're at, join it right where you're at, and then, let the momentum take care of itself by coming consistently or doing it with the food or whatever. So what else?
I feel like that was good.
That's it. That's short. I wanted to end with the little 3-step process that we had come up with before we started the talk, and that was, like we said before, we're talking about habits and routines. Pick the one thing that you want to work on, or how is it that you worded it earlier? Pick the
one area that's not optimal, or one area that's holding you back that you can identify. But first, having that honest conversation. What am I doing on a daily basis that's probably not serving me well? Yeah.
So pick that one thing instead of trying to focus on a bunch of stuff. Pick that one thing, and then I found this really useful with my clients. Try to picture an ideal day that includes that one thing, because a lot of times in our minds, I think it's really complicated and just kind of chaotic. But if I can map out a day, from 5 to 8 p.m. or whatever your day looks like, and just say, where am I going to squeeze this in? Where am I going to make this happen? Okay, it's going to happen right here, and then commit to that. And then, like we were talking about before with the momentum, when you get into those moments of weakness or the points to where you feel like, that's where you may make the decision not to do the right thing or something, in that moment, use how you want to feel the next day as your leverage to do the right thing, or use how you want to see yourself or look or feel in the future as your leverage to make the right decision in the moment. And then once you make that small win, like Colby said, then you make the next win and the next win, and before you know it, you're months down the road and you're just completely changed and revamped and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, try to get out of that just temporary fix. Remember the main goal that you had. All of us, when they talk to us, like they have these big goals of what they want to achieve. So that little 30 minutes of comfort that you're going to get in whatever that is, or missing a workout for really no reason, it's going against the bigger thing that you want. So just fight through it for that one moment.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. That's it. That's all we got. Signing off.
Sweet. Thank you.